Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. We're out here today. We're going to get some more stuff done on this Camaro Super Sport. And let me explain what we're going to do today. If you have a Camaro Super Sport with a V8 in it, Gen 5, you've probably already had this issue. This is your oil cooler. Basically it runs antifreeze through here and oil through here and antifreeze through here to supposedly cool your oil. This also will heat up your oil if the oil isn't up to whatever your thermostat is, 200, whatever your car runs at. Previously, mine started leaking as they always do. So I pulled this off and I installed one of those ICT billet kits that just completely blocks this off. I'll show you a picture here. You can see it comes with the nipple for the coolant. You remove a hose, a plug that goes on the hose, and then the ICT billet aluminum piece. And I put that on there. Well, after driving the car, I've done several autocrosses and stuff, and not really much of an issue, because usually you do an autocross, you wait a little bit, maybe 10-15 minutes, you do another one. And I didn't have any problems getting hot. Well, I run an autocross and then done a drag race at Hot Rod Power Tour, done a good burnout, and went an immediate another drag race, and my oil got really, really hot. So what we're going to do today is we're going to fix that. Now, this is probably going to be overkill. But we are going on a road course track here in just a few days, like 13 days actually. And so with overkill, this is what I went with. This is going to be my new oil cooler. It's going to be an externally mounted oil cooler. It's not going to be a fan or anything on it. It's just going to have the air running through the front. This is going to be mounted on the front of behind the nose cone up here. As you can see, this it's beefy. This is a dual core. I can't remember the exact sizes on it, but this is it's got eight AN fittings. This is the Summit brand one that they sell. It's like $100.50. That's what I gave for this one. It's got the mounting brackets. Pretty good shape. It's got some weight to it, so I'm going to do that. But with the ICT billet where this bolted up at, I have a special part here. This is made by Derale Performance. And Derale makes a bunch of cooler type stuff. But what's neat about this is thermostatically controlled. What it's going to do, it's going to allow the oil to bypass the cooler up until the oil reaches 180 degrees. At 180 degrees, it's going to open up, allowing the oil to start flowing through this cooler. So they make two different ones. This one had a thermostat and the other one did not. I thought, well, there's been a bunch of debate on Facebook and some of the groups that I've read and stuff about getting your oil up to temperature. Now, we have at least up to 10% in our normal fuel of ethanol. Ethanol, one of its byproducts is water. And that water can seep past the rings and get down to your engine oil. Once your engine oil gets above 212 degrees, it will boil that water out and go through your catch can or whatever and get dismissed of. On short trips, I want to make sure my oil starts getting up that temperature quicker. I know I had an argument with a guy on Facebook about that and stuff, and the more I thought about it, I can't remember your name, I can't even find the post now. If you're watching this or ever do, you had a lot of merit to what you were saying, so I was wrong. To go along with this 8-in setup, I had to get these. These are 10 ORBs to 8 ANs, and they're going to screw right here. Got two of those. I got, here's the issue I may end up running into. We're going to see together if this works. This is a Fragola 8 AN hose. Alright, this is stainless steel PTFE hose. And what I did at the time, this is my first time ever doing AN lines, is I ordered the Summit brand PTFE fittings. Now I've kind of done my own little, just to see if it fits. I think it's going to. We're going to try. If not, I'm going to have to order some Summit brand hose or Fragola fittings. If you're doing this, make sure your fittings and hose are going to match up. I done bought this before I realized it. I'd ordered it all in this black fitting, but three of them, I needed 345s. They all ended up being on back order, so I got the red and blue ones. because you wouldn't gonna have to wait 6 weeks to get them. They had these in stock, so I got those. It's gonna be behind stuff. Kind of looks red, white, and blue anyway, so kind of looks nice. So there you have it. We're gonna try to get this thing installed in the car, keep those oil temperatures down, keep our oil lubricating properly. But to get things started here, we're gonna go straight over to this vise. It's a small vise. I've done installed the AN fittings. I had to buy these two. These are Summits, just their cheapest. AN fitting vise clamps are made out of aluminum. They've got magnets on them. And we're gonna see if these fittings will work. If not, there's no reason to tear the whole front of the car off and do all that stuff if I'm gonna have to order new lines. So come over here with me and we'll see if we can make this work. All right, I got the camera down here, so hopefully you can see what's going on. As you can see, I have my fitting. I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart. You're gonna have your back half of your fitting here, your inside nutsert, and then your main fitting. And looks like you're gonna have some tape over one end of this. So I'm gonna try to, while this tape is holding this stainless steel down, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this cert over top of this, which don't look to be too simple. Well, we may have to end up starting from the other end. There we go. This one's not burred up yet, so we're going to slide this over. Pretty snug fit till we get past the tape, but I didn't want to take the tape off yet. Now, I'm going to remove the tape. Alright, with a pick, I'm going to start going around this and loosening this up a little bit around this inner seal here, or inner hose. Just kind of, I'm going to give it a wiggle, start going around. I'm not punching holes in anything. This little knurl here. I know it's hard for you to see probably on camera, but this needs to go down to this, the rubber inside here comes up and touches the lip of this brass. Hoping you can see that. So this one looks to be all the way down in there. So what we'll do next is insert this, pull up on this. Now I'm making sure I'm putting upward pressure here, so I don't want to pull this out. Alright, let's open our vise up. This is a cheap Harbor Freight vise. I broke my other one flaring some brake lines, so I just picked this one up. A little tension on it, but not too much. I'll make sure I hold the back of the hose in. And I already took, I don't have AN pliers, so I took and wrapped black tape around the end of these so that it fits on there without marring it up. And we're going to start turning here. As we turn this, it's going to start putting pressure on that little knurl, and it is going to make a good connection there, if this is going to work properly. These fittings, which I really do think they're going to. All right. I think that's, give it just a second there, let everything seat. Everything seems to be seating in there. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. I'm just kind of a little bit letting up. I think that's going to be enough here. Let's go give it a good jerk. Oh, as you can see, I'm pulling you over here too. That thing is in there. So, there we have it. My very first AN fitting installation. So, kind of excited. It's the first time I've used one. I'm glad these ends work with soles. So with knowing that, let's go ahead and get this car up on there and get this nose cone start coming off. So it's a new day. We're back out here in the garage. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and got my front nose cone off here and everything. We've got our cooler here. And like I said, this is a pretty good size cooler. I like to mount it pretty low back here, like so. The problem is the bumper would block a lot of this, but this is way overkill. There's still plenty of air here. There's at least 4 inches, and if I put it here, there's a gap here too, so air can move through. So I'm pretty certain that will be sufficient. If not, we can come back and take a hole saw and drill some holes in this. I'm not opposed to that at all, and we may even look into doing it now. Some nice big holes. That way more air can flow through it. But I think this setup right here is going to be more than efficient for what we're going to be doing at this time. I did go by Lowe's and I picked up some of this flat steel. This is 1/8 by 1 1/4 by 4 foot long. This is going to be overkill to hold that, but I mean it's not that heavy. Time I make me a little bracket out of it. I'm going to make a bracket that comes off this. There's a metal support underneath here. It seems to be pretty decent. It helps hold this plastic piece, and it's clipped in right here. I'm gonna remove these clips from here and from here, and use bolts with this. I'm gonna bend the little ears up and come up and hold this, like I said, just a little bit above the bottom of this. That way we get the most airflow. And then on top, I'm gonna come off the top ears, and I'm either gonna bolt it or weld it to this front bumper support. So we'll see what we're gonna do there. And then run my AN lines. I think I am going to go ahead and remove these permanently, these 2 side pieces. So maybe I get a little more room getting stuff in here. This is kind of more of a race car, so if you're concerned about me removing stuff, then I like my car and I'm going to drive it around a lot, but it's not a daily. I don't rely on it. It's basically a toy, as my wife would tell you. So let's go ahead and get this stuff off here, and we'll go from there. You are doing a bunch of these little pop clips. Let's see if I can get you like that. These are a good investment. These are very cheap. I think I got these off Summit and doing one of my orders. They weren't very high at all. But they make those a lot easier to pop without destroying them. And as you can see here, you get a better look at this bar I was talking about. That we're going to be mounting to. This is pretty solid. This is an extension off your subframe, holds your radiator and everything. So we're going to come off these right here to start with. Let me get that on seat. So we're going to take our flat steel and we're going to drill one size above 5/16. We're going to use a 5/16 bolt. I like to have a little bit of wiggle room. So one size above 5/16. And this is going to be our start bend side. We're going to make a bend across here at a 90, come up the minimum amount we can, and then do another 90. So we do need to get one more measurement before we start, and that is going to be how high we need to come off. This jack handle out of the way. jack is just there for an extra backup. I've got 4 jack stands under it, and the jack's still under it. So make sure we're doing the best safety we can here. And what we're going to do is just try to find something that's pretty straight. Lay across here. So if I come up 3 1/8, I'll be clearing this plastic here by at least 5/16, if not 3/8. So let's start by drilling a hole. Look over here at my good drill bit set. So the size we're going to be going with, a 5/16 is there. We're going to go with a 21/64. I'll come here at the end. I'm not going to do a whole lot of real precise marking or anything. I mean, this is not rocket science. There we go. And that should give us plenty of room for 5/16 bolt. Yep, with just a little scoosh of play. So I'm going to make a mark here, just a little bit past the edge of that bolt hole. See that mark right there? That's going to be our first bend point. And we need to make a 90. So let's see how strong this little vise is going to be. It's probably a little underkill for this. So we've got her clamped in there. I made the mark with the line, that way we can make sure we keep this bracket straight. That way we get down to the other end, it's not going to be off a lot. Clamp it pretty good. And we get the old Tanya Harding out here. Ooh, you don't like that at all, do you? Let's find you a new home. Alright, this was being a little hard to bend, so what I done was take good old cutoff wheel, and I cut into this metal just a little bit, because I want pretty sharp bends. If this seems to be too weak, I'll go back and I'll weld it up a little bit. But I didn't even cut halfway through it, and it bends so much easier now. So we'll go ahead and get this 90 bent, and then take a measurement and see where we need to get our next one. And we'll probably keep cutting it a little bit. That way it makes the lines cleaner and hopefully keep it straighter. All right, so we got our 90 bent here. Like I said, I made a real slit right there real quick with the cutoff wheel. I am going to have to go back and touch those up with a little bit of weld. That is kind of thin there. But let's go ahead and make our mark for our next bend, which we said was going to be about that 3-inch mark. So I'm actually going to go 3 1/16 there. I got the world's greatest camera woman back. She's videoing now, so that makes it better. Well, when I hit the table, you all went for a ride. And here's the problem. I just realized I marked it on the wrong side. We got to bend back the other way. So let's just reverse that operation. I'm going to come messed that one up a little bit. There it is right there. be charged. So we've got us a little place cut in there. So hopefully that's enough. We can bend it a lot easier now. Got it started there, but the problem is it won't fit this one device. So I'm going to have to find alternate means. Go that way. Alright. That looks pretty good. Check the depth here. Work well. I'm enough to get my finger under it. So there's a little bit of room there. Alright, so we got a bracket made up here. I went ahead and painted it, drilled the holes and all that stuff. You kind of seen the idea what was going on. I was doing little cuts and bending it to make it easier to bend. This thing's solid. I'm not going to go back and weld it. So went ahead and scuffed it up, painted it, made sure all the holes lined up and everything. So we're getting ready to install it here on the oil cooler. And what I've done is I've got some 1/4 inch by 20 bolts, and I put washers on the top, put it through, and put some of these rubber grommets. I got these at Harbor Freight. These are made to, like if you're putting wires through a firewall or something, or, you know, they work great for this even. So we've got a little bit of something to help for vibrations there. I'm going to put this on here. Then I'm going to go with a flat washer and a lock washer. And just for a little security, I just had it knocked it over there, a little bit of blue Loctite. Now red Loctite always, the joke was heat, you have to have heat to take it off. This you do not. The green you can make threads with, so we don't ever want to use green. But put a little dab of that on there. And a nut on here. Same way with the other side. Grab us a 7/16. Put my lid back on my stuff. Let's give her a snug up here. Now I'm not tightening it completely. I don't want to smush this all the way. So thus the Loctite. And there. We're mounted on rubber. We've got a little gap under it, which I was worried about that. I was looking for some foam or something, so that wasn't necessary. But I really don't want these to back off, so I am going to go ahead and double nut them. Try this a second time, see if we can get this right. There we go. Perfect. Now we gotta say it. That ain't going nowhere. Let's bring it over to the car. I've already got a few pieces of hardware laid out for this. We've got the bolt, 2 flat washers, a lock washer, and the nut. Don't want to be doing that, hitting the radiator like that. And you know, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of Loctite on these as well. I've done it again. You'll know if you busted. Because it's got the free on it. Alright, now we're going to lay it back against it. Thank you, world's best camera person. Alright, now all we got to do is I got to get underneath here, get these nuts and stuff started on that side and tighten it up. So I'll be back with you in just a minute. Alright, so we got the bottoms here mounted up. We're not using the clips in this anymore. We got a bolt through here. Shouldn't be any issues there. We got a gap here underneath the little cooler, so it's not rubbing against this metal bar that I made. It's in here firm, but yet you can feel the cushion of the rubber. So when we get our top mounted here, it should finish up this, help prevent a lot of vibrations. I got it pretty center. It's not perfectly exact. For whatever reason, I don't know. I mean, I got everything measured and stuff, but it to me, it may just be the way I'm looking at it. It is. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna let you go here for a second. We're gonna put this bumper cover, or the bumper, back on actually, and that way we can get our other brackets to it. So I'll be right back with you. All right. So we got the bumper mounted back up. This is here behind of it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a bracket that comes from here, and it's gonna come down to here. And I'm probably gonna use the self-tappers to put it here. I don't want to weld it because then it's going to be hard to get this out. It'd have to go back. So use self-tappers, put some rubber on it like I did the other one, and that should be very sufficient for what we're doing here to hold this. This already is pretty steady, you know, up and down and everything. It just needs this lateral back and forth. So let me go ahead and get some measurements here, get these pieces cut out, and we'll get them installed, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so we're back here. I got these brackets, went ahead and fabricated them up using the same techniques as before. I burred them just a little bit and bent them, that way you get good straight bends. These are gonna go from right here over here to the bumper here, and I'm gonna use self-tappers, and hunting all around everywhere, I can only find one self-tapper long enough to do what I need to do. So I don't think these other ones are quite long enough to catch threads once they go through. Well, I am wrong. Those will work. So we're going to use those. We are going to go ahead and use the same technique we did earlier. I'm going to put this through here, add one of these rubber bushings. That way it's all rubber mounted, like so. Alright, so we got this thing all bolted up here. We got these 4 self-tappers here in the front, and these are solid. I mean, got these here mounted rubber. This thing, Cody, my wife said, this ain't going nowhere. But it's still got enough protection in the rubber, though it's not, you know, a lot of harmonics. We did go ahead off camera and go ahead and install the block, the Derale thermostatic oil block. Got it down there. Went ahead and measured the lines, because I went ahead and put the fittings on the one end that hooks down there, and I had to measure up here where I'm going to run it and everything, and actually see where I need to cut it. So let's go on over here. Yeah, I've already got it marked. Basically, in the middle of these, in this middle of this tape is where I'm going to be cutting it at. So I'll go ahead and just take my time and stick it here in the vise to hold it for me. Got these little jaws on here. The magnet don't stick as good as I was hoped they would. It's kind of cheap magnet, but of course this metal is from Harbor Freight. I don't know how good of a metal it is. But I just need something to hold it there a little bit for me. I'm going to take the good old cutoff wheel, safety split. I got that one. And I'm going to go ahead and try to cut this one without putting it in there. Alrighty. So now we have 2 cuts. This, go back down through here. Look, almost like that was made to go together. I'll tell you what. Now I'm going to go back and cut these zip ties off. That was just kind of to hold everything together and make sure everything matches up and turns and twists right as it goes back through. But we'll go through the plumbing after I get it all lined back up. I'm going to tighten these up, plumb this in, tighten it up, and I'll show you that, what I did. Alright, I hope you can see this, but there's the block that I've installed, the Derale thermostat coupler. Here's my A&N lines, and they're running up over and down behind my engine mount here. They're not, not really touching. I've got them zip tied here, put a big washer zip tied through when it goes over the subframe there. And here, and it goes on up and routes through the side around, and I drilled a hole right here in the side of this plastic piece, that way they can pass through. So hopefully that don't have any problems rubbing or that's going to hurt anything. Alright, we're back here. Everything is buttoned up. We've got everything tight, and I had to go back, and I did not show this, but I needed to fill this with oil. I didn't want it pumping through and all that, so this is going to hold about an extra quart, it looks like. Poured some more 5W30 synthetic in there. And I'm going to get ready to do an oil change anyway on this, so after I've been a hot rod power tour, I've done several pulls and autocrosses on this oil change, so it's way past time to do. We'll use a Wix filter, one of the good ones, and some Valvoline synthetic, full synthetic platinum oil. So let's go ahead and get this thing started up. And my hands are filthy, but I'm going to go ahead and reach in here and see if we got any leaks. Fire in the hole. That was long-lived. I forgot something. I took this off so I could see down through there, and I had no nice airflow sensor. Just shove this back on here. As soon as I turned that key in, she hit. I was like, oh! I remember. Of course, now I'm sure I got check engine lights and, all them random Christmas lights on. Alright. Shot number 2. World's best camera person, be looking under it, see if there's any leaks. it up, make sure that we can feel warm oil running through this. We'll get our little temperature thing out and verify. But that's where we sit. We'll be right back with you. Okay, we're back here with the cooler. We just shut it off. We've run it up, and this thing actually opens about 190 according to my thermostat on my car. On the dash, it tells me my oil temperature. So we was looking at the temperature coming here, got up to about 135 ish, and it was going out in the 90s. So it run long enough to make sure that it got bled good and everything. So just the fan, and you know it's not sealed up good here, just the fan moving some air across here, I've got about a 40 degree differential. When I'm on the track, that's really going to be imperative, because I'm going to be going fast and I'm going to be high RPMs and then running it hard, and the air is going to be flowing through here. So I'm getting air from the bottom here and probably a little bit through here at the top. And even when I'm just sitting on an island and stuff, maybe getting ready to go out or something, it's going to, enough air kind of moving in this area up here from the fans. So I'm real pleased with this. I can't wait to try it out. Camaro Fest. I'm going to be at the NCM Motorsports Park on the road course track. I believe this is going to be what I needed. It's definitely overkill. Most people do not put an intercooler on here this big, but with the activities that we plan on doing in the future as far as engine wise and stuff, I wanted to make sure I had plenty to do. So I appreciate you watching. We've got some other videos coming up. I've got some other parts in and everything. I'm not going to go show you the nose cone putting back on. There's not going to be a performance difference, so we're not going to do a drive or anything. I may end up with the burnout at the end of the video like I did last time, but we'll end it there. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe. I really appreciate it.